No Instagram live, but you guys jump on here anyway. So on the back of this Tuesday's Cornerman Conversation, we're watching the repeat. We put out an email on Cornerman Conversations on Tuesday and do a follow-up on Thursday. So, hey, man, I talked about before I had a mentor. Oh, man. And when I say before I had a mentor, I'd actually had mentors before this guy I'm going to talk about. Kieran, Gav, how are you, mate? So I'm going to, So I had mentors growing up. My dad, who was just absolutely amazing. Goodness me, what he did for me, I can never repay, how he loved me, where he took me with horse shows and boxing, and oh man, what he went through was what he went through having a son like me. So I'm going to get into, really when I thought, man, I actually need somebody, but even before I get into that, because I want to go through basically 6 points today. All right, I'm going to do it as quick as I can. It won't be long. So, Neil, Alex, how are you, mate? But first of all, before I even do that, hey, our 5-day man challenge next week, man. Tickets went live last night, my time anyway. And thank you to all the men that are investing in themselves, investing their time, their resources, but absolute phenomenal, but also men that have actually brought those bunches of 3. So they're buying it for other men. Man, that just makes my heart swell. That is absolutely amazing. I know there's a lot of men sharing that 5-day man challenge with a lot of mates. And hey, man, this is what it's about, helping others. So that kicks off Monday. Goodness me. So don't wait till the last minute. Because there's a lot of value you're going to get before that. So Dan, how are you, mate? How's Darwin? Good to see you on. So before I had a mentor, and I boxed for a couple of years, in and out. But if I'm rigorously honest, looking back now, I never fully, I suppose, committed to what they were saying. I sort of like, I don't know, I was taking this and leaving that and never really committing to it. And I mean, hey, as a result of that, because, hey, if you're like me, if you experience what I'm about to say, Gav, that's me too, okay? I remember approaching, and I've been boxing for a couple of years and had some great men in my life, plus my dad, showing me and pointing out, I suppose endeavoring to develop my character, but I had an attitude. But I remember reaching a point and I never said this to anyone, I'm saying to you now, but I remember thinking, I wonder what would actually make a man out of me. I wonder if there's something I could do. And I don't know whether every teenage male goes through that. But I was searching. If you went through that, Daniel, if you went through that, mate, give me a thumbs up, Gav. That was me, So I guess subconsciously I was searching for something. And I remember meeting some guys. My old man had a caravan park, and I remember meeting these guys that sort of like, they were from all around the world. It was up in North Queensland. And I remember thinking, this might be the thing that makes a man out of me. And man, long story short, it didn't. And I tried hard, but I remember at one point, I don't want to bring myself to tears, but I remember there was one point where, and I'd been gone, I don't know, maybe 7-8 months at this point. I'd been through Asia, the Himalayas. I'd lived on a nudist beach for 3 months in Thailand with full moon parties. Man, I don't remember half of it. Anyway, I remember, I ended up in Amsterdam because I actually met some guys from actually they were from Israel, but they were working in Holland, and they said they'd give me a job. Imagine me dancing half naked. Hey, got a job opportunity for you, Gav. They must have been as bad as me. They were anyway. But I remember reaching a point where I come on, and this is me doing it my way, okay? Self-will run riot. I remember reaching a point, I come home one morning, I've been playing up all night on chemical drugs and what have you. And I remember looking in the mirror and just thinking, I don't like you, mate. Like, and I guess, I don't know, I was angry, okay? I remember, back in the day before mobile phones, I remember finding me ticket, where they give you a paper ticket. And I remember looking at it and thinking, what's the date? I know the date. What's the date? So I worked out what the date was. Then I realized I didn't know what month it was. I thought, what month am I in? As it turns out, I'd missed my plane by 3 weeks. Okay. So that's actually not even the worst bit. The worst bit, I was actually in the wrong country. So that was Gav Top on my own, doing my best, And it was, there's a whole story what happened after. I remember actually ringing me dad up. I remember being at this phone box, ringing me dad up. And I remember him saying something like, do you think you got a problem, mate? And I remember abusing him. And I remember hanging up, and I remember getting those phone, you had the cord phone, you're on the phone box. I remember getting the phone, and there was a line waiting for me. I remember getting the phone and just start smashing it. I was not happy. And the people say, they're going to use the phone anyway. So, Blake's trying to get me out anyway, all right. But it wasn't too long, and that really done something in me. Maybe I need help. Long story short, I made it back to Australia. I got to the country where I was meant to leave from, where I had the ticket. I got back to Australia, and it was, and I was doing my best. I was trying to get back training. I was trying to do anyway. But it was probably about 2 years later, and I'd done my best to get myself back on track. I started to hook up with better, people that were I suppose, I ended up in a drug and alcohol place, and I sort of got sober and clean and started hanging around with people that were doing that, staying sober and clean. But I remember doing it for about a year, and I was still self-willed, and that's when I met a bloke by the name of Peter, and it's like he had something that I didn't. Basically, there was a peace about him. There was a calmness. There was he had something I didn't have, man, and I didn't even know how to get, And but I remember approaching him saying, mate, do you think you can help me? And it took so much courage to almost, I felt like I was just revealing myself, saying that I needed help, and he was brilliant. He pushed my buttons. He goes, so what do you want me to mentor you? And I'm, oh, gee, like that's serious, I just want a bit of help, mate, get me through this hard patch. And he goes, well, mate, listen to me. So I got my attention. He said, you can keep going the way you're going. I've been watching you, you can keep going the way you're going, doing something once a week, do it on your own. And if you're lucky, you'll be here in about 7 years. Because there's 2 plans here, Gab. There's the 1-year plan and there's the 7-year plan. Guys, if you do it on your own and try and work it out, I've been watching you, Gab, you'll be here in 7 years. But if you want me to mentor you, right, you can do something every day with accountability to me and be at the same level in 1 year. So what do you want? Do you want the 1 year or do you want the 7 years? And I knew on my own I wouldn't have even made it, let alone doing something once a week and lasting, going in the same direction for 7 years. I knew that wasn't an option. So I'm glad he gently pushed me. He didn't let me off. He goes, mate, your way's obviously not working. And I was doing my best. And that was kind of like that first real mentor that really, I suppose, knew what to say to him. He was the ultimate, and he had nothing to do with boxing, by the way, but from that mentoring and then that discipline and that coaching, goodness me, within a couple of years, I started buying houses. I started a business. I ended up, it was about 4 years down the track where I won the Australian title as a fighter. Like I got, man, this guy, by being humble, because that's what it was, man. It was a giant step, that first step when I asked him for help. But I'm so glad I committed, because around that time there was other guys like me, and even I was young. When I say young, I was probably about 23, 24 when I met him, and he took me under his wing. But I know there was blokes that were a little bit older than me I was exactly the same, and they attempted to do it on their own, and it didn't work. And that's the bottom line. I can remember, and this is another point. I remember, I remember a bloke by the name of Mark, and man, he was kind of a bit of an idol of mine. He was just doing great things, but he was pig-headed like me, like I was. And I can remember, and I watched him just, I watched him start a business like me and then blow it. I watched him go off the rails again and come back. I watched him do all these. I watched him get a beautiful girl and blow that. And I can remember. I remember at his funeral when he committed suicide. Bloody hell, because he was probably doing better than me. That's the thing, but he chose to do it on his own. And I remember being at his funeral, and obviously, you can see I'm still bloody, but I remember the minister saying, "Oh, do you want to say something, Gav?" Because he knew we were close, and I couldn't. I flipping couldn't. Wasn't expected to do this today. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I was angry. I was dirty. I was disappointed. I was all the above. I just couldn't, And there was a part of me that was just empty. What the heck? It was like, man, why didn't he just bloody do what I was doing? Anyway, so gentlemen, I wasn't expecting to do that. All right. So mentorship, man. I just would hate to, I don't even know where I'd be, if Peter didn't invest that time. And then of course there was JB, then of course there was Eric, there was so many men, and then of course, I had boxing coaches, Ray, who, man, goodness me, do not try and do this on your own. For goodness sake, please do not try and do this on your own. I say, man, jeepers, like, it's not just, I think about Mark, but I think about his mum and his funeral. I think about his stepdad at his funeral. They were a mess. If I'm like this now, man, where are they going? I lost contact. So, gentlemen, don't try and do this on your own, And all right, so listen, hey, I don't know, man. This is what's going on. Leave me a comment if you're resonating, because this is the thing, man. There is a great future in front of every one of us. There's inspiration everywhere when you look for it. You may think you're going through a time of a hard time, but generally sometimes it's just a time of pruning. Things that need to be pruned off of my life, off of my attitude, off of the way I thought. Thank goodness They were there. Thank goodness there are people around say, no, go, this is the direction, these are your values. Keep going. You're going to break through. When you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going. Don't camp there. So, gentlemen, we're doing, and one of the things that I'm doing next week is for blokes like I was, I think. I'm doing this man challenge next week, and the truth is, I was actually going to do it next year. That's what I was going to do, and just because of conversations I've had the last little while, I thought, man, I'm not waiting. No way. I want to give every man the opportunity to find his purpose, or at least to find out what's holding him back. So we're starting. Tickets went live last night. It starts next week. And I'm so thankful, grateful, honoured that men just started buying tickets straight away. And maybe you're not getting that email. Sing out. We'll get the email to you. I couldn't believe when I was just feeling it out. Oh, should I go now and put what do you call it? So I'm thinking about doing this, and then it was like 29 blokes within days. They said, "Gav, I'm in." So man, this is amazing. Hey, listen, if you want to finish the year strong, do this. If you want to get yourself set up for the next year, for 25, do the 5-day man challenge. But if you feel like, because it's not for everyone. I don't know what hardship you've still got to go through. This isn't even for people who need it. This is for men who actually want it and want to take action and are sick of just operating, I think, at average, or sick of being too busy, or sick of being hijacked from the important things. So, men, if you want to get involved, great. If you don't, great. If you want to be a spectator, do it. Keep being a spectator. But if you want to take action, we've got something for you, that 5-day challenge. And we've got a limited, obviously a limited time, but a limited access of blokes, particularly with the VIP. And I see blokes coming through, registered for that VIP experience. So, gentlemen, this is going to be amazing. So I'm so looking forward to it. So this conversation, this Cornerman's back up on the email will go out next week, but we won't be going live in the group. We're going to be changing the world. We're going to be doing the man challenge. So it's going to be, but we'll put some stuff up with the team. Well, anyway, we'll get something happening. But gentlemen, any questions, don't hesitate to sing out. Joshy Scales, see you there, buddy. Hey, thank you for, sending a mate out some info on the man challenge, mate. Appreciate it. This is what we do, man. Great men serve others, help others. All we need is 1,000 blokes like Joshy Scales. Will change the world for sure. But all right, men, over and out. There we go.